Most people with their chatting while they're doing OFM, they don't pay much attention, they don't develop their own sales process. What they'll do is they'll find a cheap course, they'll use the chatting course, they'll give them some terrible little scripts, and then they'll give that to their chatters, or they'll just hire chatters with previous experience, trust that they know what they're doing. Now with everyone we've hired, all the chatters we hire, they're all trained completely wrong, and we tend to take people with no previous experience and train them with this document here, and in a few days, if not a few hours, they become really, really good, and they start getting some insane sales. So if you're running an OFM agency or you have an OF account and your subscriptions are $100, if your chatting is perfect and it's good, you should be making over $1,000 from that $100 in subscriptions. It should be a 10-to-1 ratio, and if it's below that, something's going wrong and there's something wrong with your chatting. So this simple structure here is going to be the base for any great sales you make or any big spenders that you build on the account. Anytime a new sub comes onto the account, you're going to be in stage 1. And this is general conversation, this is building rapport, this is getting to know the subscriber. And what we have is a link here that takes us to a complete document on how to build rapport with new subscribers and with current subscribers. This is pretty much just finding out about the guy's life, getting to know as much as possible, finding out what he likes, and also making him feel wanted. You can make notes about his hobbies, his jobs, if he has kids, and then everyone that works on that account will know all the information about him, and you'll be able to talk to him like a normal person and build a real relationship. As soon as they come on the account, great questions to ask. It's like, what are you doing for work? Where are you from? All this stuff, just getting a bit of backstory, building a picture of the guy we are talking to, and then finding out what he enjoys doing. And if he tells you, oh, I enjoy golf so much, you can be like, oh, I love it too, babe. And you can build some rapport that way. You can act like you like the same things as him, you have a lot in common, and it's going to build a relationship much, much faster. Instead, if you're like, oh, I hate golf, like golf's stupid, then he's not going to like us as much, so don't do that, there's no point. And once you've brought this subscriber onto the account, you've done the first bit, you've found out the basic information, you can go a bit deeper and you can build a little bit more rapport each day, just by finding out what he's been up to, has he been working, if he is in work, what time does he finish, and then after he finishes, what plans does he have. This is also good for selling, as you find out what situation they're in and how to approach the conversation. After you've done 10 messages back and forth, maybe even more for new subscribers, you can move on to the transition part of the conversation, which is how we get into selling. This takes us over to stage 2. Obviously we have another document here, and this is the part that every single person messes up, especially if they're new, or in most cases, if it's someone that's already trained, they've been taught this completely wrong. We always want to remain in the power position, and we don't want to force the customer to buy. We don't want to be a pushy salesman. We want to be a normal person, have a normal conversation, and let it flow naturally. That's where the most sales will come, as the subscriber's going to feel they're not just being robbed for their money, and it's a genuine connection. In the first situation, the customer initiates the conversation. He says something like, oh my god, you're so sexy, this is perfect. And the best thing to reply to this is a free picture that you have in your sequences. If you don't know about sequences, I've explained it in another video, but I'll go over it quickly now. A sequence is a set of content that's been shot all at one time. Each scene matches together, and it's a series of videos which get more and more extreme, more and more explicit. And with this, you can increase the price, and the customer will also think, this is a live scene, this is happening right now, this isn't an agency, and that's where the value is. And in this sequence, you're going to have a free picture, which will just be your client in a normal outfit, just taking a selfie. That's the best way to have your free picture. It can be in a slightly more revealing outfit, or you can have a mix, so you can use either a normal one or a more revealing one, depending on the current conversation. If they have initiated the conversation, good thing to do is ask another question. It's like, what would you do with me if you're on your bed together right now? Send the free picture, and that'll take you into the next stage where you can start making sales. In the second scenario, which is the more important one and the harder one, that every single person gets wrong, the conversation hasn't shifted naturally into a selling conversation, and now we need to bait the customer, not by saying something stupid, like, can you drop me some tips so we can get naughty? That is what I see some chatters saying, and it's absolutely terrible. It's going to make the customer just feel like a customer and not like a subscriber that the client actually cares about. In an example where the customer's in work, what you can do is send the free picture and just have a normal conversation and ask a question like, oh babe, only 2 hours of work left, then you're home. This might make the customer say something that will lead to a sexual conversation where you can start selling. Another great way is to make the model imagine you're there with him, and if he's talking about cooking, you can say something like, I bet you could use a pretty blonde chef to come cook with you. That's going to put your client in his mind in a real life situation, and it might lead for him to transition, take the bait, and move into a conversation where we can make sales. Now an example of the customer initiating would be something like, you're so hot, I wish I was in your bed with you. Something like that initiates that he does want to take the conversation to a selling conversation. Once that's happened, we can go on to the next stage. The next stage is just dirty talk. I would open this document, but it's not very safe for work, so we'll leave it there. It's just got a bunch of pre-prepared dirty talk lines that we can use when we're moving towards the first sale. So after we transitioned, we want to go into dirty talk. We want 3 messages from the chatter, 3 messages from the subscriber. Once we've done this, we can go for the first sale, and we have a bunch of pre-prepared lines in here as well. When going for the first sale, the main things you want to say is a question about the pay-per-view, like what would you do if you caught me getting this naughty, and then send it over with the paid content. Probably going to open it because he has to open it to answer your question. After this, you go straight back into dirty talk, maybe a bit more explicit, go for the second sale. The second sale is going to be a higher price. I'll tell you about pricing in a moment. But after you go for the second sale, you go straight back into dirty talk, and then you go for the next sale. You follow this all the way through until the sequence is done, and usually once the sequence is done, they've finished as well. You can end the conversation there, and you can go back to building rapport until they come back the next day and keep making purchases with your client. Now for pricing, you do want to ramp the pricing up slowly. So for the first sale, it might be anywhere from $9 all the way up to $15. If they are a really big spender, you can go a little bit higher in the $20 range. Moving into the second sale, just increase that by $10. Third sale, if it's an explicit piece of content and it's fairly long, you can double it. You can go for like $45. And then the last sale will be the most explicit and where you can charge the most. The customer's already in the mood. He's already spent a bunch of money. He's already invested. This is where you can go for a bigger sale like $65 to $100. This all comes down to the customer's previous spending habits and the current rapport that has been bought with them. You don't want to be charging someone that's never spent $1 with you $20 for the first message. They probably won't buy it. So you want to keep kind of lower prices, but not super cheap prices for the new subs. For the ones we already have rapport with and the ones that have already made big purchases, you can go a little bit higher. And with the time wasters that have never bought before, maybe you've tried to sell for 15, you've tried to sell for 12, they've not bought yet. This is where you come in for the $9 sales, the $7 sales. That's the basic sort of structure that is going to get you the most sales on your accounts, keep your subs the happiest. We do have a bunch of other documents in here that will help our chatters with certain situations they'll find difficult. Such as you send the first sale, you send the second sale, they don't buy it, what should you do then? And there's a bunch of situations on this other document that's basically in script format that our chatters can copy and paste, they can use it, and they can potentially get the customer to open. And the same goes, we've got a script for time wasters, we've got scripts for individual creators. Anything like that could be helpful, you can make a separate document, like a little tutorial, and your chatters can use that at any time to help them with their current situation. So if you are running an OFM agency and you do have a team of chatters and you don't have enough time to train them, but you don't have enough revenue to outsource the training to someone else, it's super important to have one of these documents that has all your knowledge on it, so you don't have to waste your time training people when they can just use this. It'll make them a good chatter, and you can just spend your time doing other things in the business that's going to get you more clients and more money overall. So if you did find this helpful, this document will be attached in our free Discord server. The link for that is in my description. Join there, just give me a message and I'll send over this document and you can use it for your training and your chatting.